All right, guys, trying to get this thing set up. Here we go. Receiving your content. I am working this thing out, trying to do more live sessions for you guys. Okay, I see myself on here, a little bit of low latency. So today, what I want to discuss is teach your kids money. It says I need to change the video resolution. The current resolution is not before the declaration inspector. Yeah, whatever. Someone, bear with me, guys. Bear with me. Guess I'll change my resolution here. All right. So anyway, I have no idea what they're talking about, but I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So tonight I want to discuss teaching your kids money, which is probably the most important thing you can do for your family. We understand that kids are the future. I mean, that cliche, that beating our dead horse 100 times over, right? Is teaching your kids money. You can teach them never to get in debt. I remember growing up, they always said, why are you, save your money, save your money, save your money. Well, why am I saving my money? Tell me, why am I saving my money? You have to give kids a reason why to save money and to do what with the money. To do what with the money? Saving the money, then also investing. There's a lot of entities out here that are geared towards kids to teach them how to invest. Now, the only one that comes to mind is Dr. Boyce Watkins, Black Business School. He has models for young kids. I'm not affiliated with him. He doesn't even know me. I watch some of his videos. He has really, really great information. But the one thing I want to talk about today is 529 college plans. Now, I have a few notes that I want to give it out. So if you have kids who are about to go off to college or just beginning, maybe they're 5, 6, 7 years old, this will be very, very beneficial for you. Now, every state by now should have a 529 college plan. They should have at least one or two. Now, some of the things that you have to understand from the 529 college plan are tax benefits. Okay, tax benefits, whether it be a 5-year gift tax averaging or tax-free qualified distributions or benefits simply of a 529 college plan. Now, the two types of 529 college plans are the college savings plan and then also the prepaid tuition plans. Now, I'm going to read something really quickly. It may be boring, but nonetheless, it's great information. So this is dealing with the college savings plan. Works much like a Roth 401k by investing your after-tax contributions in mutual funds or similar investments. The 529 college savings plan offers several investment options from which to choose. The 529 plan account will go up or down in value based on the performance of investment options. That's just the stock market. Goes up and down with the stock market. You can see how each 529 plan investment options are performing and reviewing. Now, the second plan with the 529 college plan is prepaid tuition plan. Now, once I get rid of all this boring stuff, we're going to dive a little deeper. We're going to get some motivation from this, okay? Prepaid tuition plans let you prepay all or part of the cost of an in-state public college education. They may also be converted for use at a private and out-of-state college. The private college 529 plan is a separate prepaid plan for private colleges sponsored by more than 250 private colleges. Now, that is if you want to bolster your kid to another level and put them ahead of everyone else at their very young age. You're starting investing in their lives so they have the money to go to a college. And believe it or not, some of these may be interchangeable paying for a trade school, right? I believe that a trade is more valuable than a college education unless you start it right now, because 529 college plans, you can actually start them while your kids are in kindergarten, okay? K through 12 in kindergarten. And so you can start putting money into that and you get tax advantages, okay? And you get tax benefits. Now, if that's not the route that you really want to go with your kids, because we understand how expensive college is. And my thing is, why don't people, for your first 2 years, send your kids to community college? Okay, community college. And you'll say, well, you know what? I don't think my son or my daughter is a good advocate to go to college, period. That is when trade school comes into mind. Maybe they're not good at a general education or institutional education, but maybe they could pass a course. And I don't know, an electrician, a plumber, a nurse, a doctor needs some school, but a nurse goes through like a 2-3 year plan and they can be an actual RN, and RNs make pretty decent money, okay? But there's different trades out there that you can get your kids into that will help them throughout life. Now, in my humble opinion, I really don't believe that college initially is the way to go. It will ground your kids in a general knowledge unless they like. There's certain professions you need school for. Okay, let me back up a little bit. I'm speaking too soon. There's certain professions you need a education. A doctor, that'll help. Lawyer, that'll help. Engineer of some sort, but IT courses, right? Those certifications, without even going to a traditional college, you can still make hundreds of thousands of dollars. This with A++ and C+ and Cisco systems and Cisco security systems and writing Linux programming, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So if you have kids in your household and you're not investing in their lives, then they're doomed to fail. Because the one thing that I was told, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you was told, as you was growing up, you was like, wait a minute, just save my money for what? Teach your kids entrepreneurship. Okay, teach your kids entrepreneurship. And the one thing that no one ever taught us is what? How to stay out of debt. No one has never told us that. No one has ever showed us that. No one has ever said, stay out of debt. And what you have to teach your kids is never to get into debt. Never to get into debt. Because the one thing that is hurting us is that we allow our children, we allow our adolescents, we allow our teens right after they leave the household or they go into college. Because here's the thing, when I went to college, a bunch of credit card companies was sending me, hey, $5,000, $10,000. And here's my story when I went to college, right? I received a Discover card. I filled out, put my social security number, all those great things, right? Need your social security number to destroy your credit. And I got a card back and they said, your limit is $5,000. I'm an inner school black kid from DC. I never had $5,000. So you telling me that this card gives me $5,000. So I went out, I was renting cars, I was throwing parties, I was doing everything that you don't supposed to do when you don't have any money and when somebody's loaning you money at a very high interest rate. I believe it was years ago, so it's about 23, 24%. And guess what? That was my first in collections. Yes, that was my first in collections. I didn't have enough money to pay that off. I didn't have nowhere near enough money to pay that off. So the first thing you must teach your kids is not getting into debt, not to be the person who's the person who's receiving the loan, but you should be the person who's giving the loan with interest. That is not what we teach our kids, right? We teach our kids kind of the reverse effect. We teach them, some of us, to get a good credit score, and this is how you get a good credit score. Wait a minute, why do I need a credit score if I'm teaching my kids not to be a debtor, to be a person who gives people debt? I mean, I know this, it's not unethical anymore because that's what people are doing to us. Like your car note, your house mortgage, your rent, your condo, all those things. People, right? People gave you that money with the promise of you with a contract for you to pay back interest. So we have to teach our kids to be the people who are lending the borrowers money. We're not teaching our kids that. And the most important thing, now that you're in your 20s, 30s, and 40s and 50s, and some of you are 60, I don't know how old you guys are, but nonetheless, you have to teach them how to invest right now. You have to teach them how to build a business right now. Whether it be a sole proprietorship, an LLC, or corporation. These are the building blocks of wealth. The building blocks of wealth is never getting into debt, learning how to start a business, learning how to invest, and the reason why you save. Now, the reason why I save money is because if all hell breaks loose, I get fired from my job. I don't have anything going. I don't have any secondary or residual sources of income coming in. Then I need to have at least 3 to 6 months of all my bills in a bank account where I can look for another job, create another job, or find some legal way to get some money. Now you have to teach your kids all your mistakes. See, a lot of times we don't share to our kids our bank accounts. We don't share with our kids what's the interest rate. We don't tell none of our kids this because we feel like we are protecting them. You're not protecting your kids. You're setting them up for failure if you don't teach them all your mistakes. I tell my son, I think we talk about money every time he calls. He goes to school in Virginia, Southern Virginia. What's the name of his school? Elizabeth City State University or College is one of those. But nonetheless, I give him all of my bad, horrible stories because I do not want my son to fall deep into debt. And if he does fall deep into debt, I'm very upset because I'm like, son, I told you that. But we know kids. Some kids learn from other people's mistakes, and some kids have to make the mistakes. Raise your hand if you're the one of the ones who had to make the mistake to understand the mistake and not learn from somebody else's mistake. Go ahead and raise your hand. Now, for some reason, guys, I can't see my chat room. I really want to interact with you guys. I don't have an idea of what's going on. Let's see here. Let me try to fix this really quickly. Okay. All right. So, what are the first things that I think that you should do when it comes to teaching your kids money? And you're probably asking, hey, what is the appropriate age of teaching your kids money? When they start walking. When they start to understand that they need money, right? 3, 4, 5 years of age, when they need money to go buy that candy that they want, that is when you start teaching them about money. Okay, the relevance of money, what money actually means. And you may have to dumb it down, okay? Their mind is not developed. They don't have the educational background, but you can teach them basic concepts of money. In order to get that, you need this. Hey, what's up, Maddox? In order to buy this, you need that, okay? So in order to get this, you have to do your chores. You need a job. You need to work. See what I'm saying? Basic concepts, because first they're going to relate to, okay, I can't get that candy bar unless I have money. I can't have money unless I do my chores, and chores are a job, or I create a job, meaning I go out with my mom's or dad's lawnmower and I cut people's yards. I remember as a young teen, I was 14? Cold weather, negative degrees, cold weather in DC. Me and my buddies are going around with shovels. They beat up. We don't care. They're beat up. We're cold. We're knocking on all the rich people's door and like, hey, can I shovel your snow for a small donation? And that's probably the worst thing we could ever do, right? Because some people gave us $1 and we out there like an hour shoveling their snow on their driveway. And they're like, oh, put some salt out there too. We didn't have the salt. They had the salt. But we got like $1. But most times people were giving us $10, $20, even $50. And it was only 3 of us. And it was freezing. And then during the fall, we went in those same neighborhoods and they knew our face and we were raking their leaves. We was putting them in their trash bags for the trash man to come pick it up. You have to teach your kids money. See, being poor growing up was probably one of the best things that I ever did because it taught me one thing. I don't want to be poor. I don't want to be poor. So I knew and I understood that without this money, I can't do what I want to do. Tell me if I'm being too loud inside my mic, guys. I bought a new mic. I heard myself yesterday and it sounded like hot garbage. It was so cloudy. Hopefully I cleared it up some. I bought a new mic. I tweaked some of the filters. I'm off of it. 12 years old doing flyers for pizza places. That's what I'm talking about, Maddox. Hey guys, I'm looking at your comments. I'm reading them. So if you will, please chime in. This is the discussion. I'm not lecturing you guys. If you have questions, if you want to interact with me, that's pretty good. All right, sounds good. Thanks, Maddox. Maddox says, my kids cleaning gutters, mowing, cleaning houses, and churching. And that's what it's all about. Okay, so that is the basic. That's the first thing. Teaching them the first basics of money. Okay, in order to get what you want, you need money. In order to get money, you have to have a job or create a job. Okay, we're talking about entrepreneurship at the age of 5. I started working, I think I was like 7. I started doing odd jobs, asking for extra chores. And one of the most profitable jobs I ever had, I was about 18, 19 years old. I did it for 2 years straight. I was on my summer break from college, and I was a furniture mover. I worked 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, and it was the most back-breaking work I ever did in my life. But they paid me $25, Mayflower. They were contractors, so you can't track these people down. So I'm not putting Mayflower out there bad, but these guys was charging, was paying me $25 an hour. And I was an in-shape football player, right? I played football in college. I played football in high school. So I was in really, really good shape. So I could lift a lot of this heavy stuff on my back. I was getting paid $25 an hour for 12 straight hours, 6 days a week. So you know how much money that is? I think that's $3,000. You don't mind if I calculate some equations I'm good on, some equations I'm actually horrible on. So let's say that's 12 hours times 25. So that's 300 a day times 6 days. Okay, 1,800. Times 4. Maybe where I get 3,000 from? Yeah, I was making well over $6,000 a month. Yes, as an 18, 19-year-old, under the table, tax free. Poke Coke say, hey y'all, okay, Maddox, I'm teaching minds how I invest and showing them dividends. And dividends is one of the greatest things. They all have savings accounts. And I also would say, Maddox, for another thing is, I don't know if you want your kids to go to school or not. Look into 529 college plans. Look for trade programs. And here's the thing. If your kids are knuckleheads, I wasn't really a knucklehead. I was like borderline. I wanted to do bad, but then I couldn't play football or run track or be in the choir. I was in everything. I was in DECA. I was in the chess club. I was on a swim team. I played one game of baseball. That sport is too slow for me. But nonetheless, if you're trying to start your kids off, you want them to go to school because they have a knack in something, a knack in computers. They want to be engineers. Then some of these professions, doctors, lawyers, they have to go to college. Okay, guys, it's best that they go to college. Now, if you have a knucklehead, as I was saying before, they have Job Corps, and this is the thing. This is the great thing about Job Corps. They wear uniforms, and they had trades that they come out certified, like carpentry. Are you serious? Listen, if you're a carpenter and don't have a job, you ain't trying hard enough. There's always houses, buildings, and everything that's going on with carpentry. Carpentry is a skill that'll never die unless it's the year 2050 and they're making robots that are making houses. Okay, so we went over the first basic rule of teaching your kids about money. They want something that costs money within a store, something like that, right? Then the money is the object. I think I got some fake money. Use some props here. Okay, here we go. The money is what they need. And by the way, guys, this is all fake money, okay? It says, but they butt ass. We'll show that. Why not? But they bust ass and 2 out of 3 got full scholarships. That's what's up. Okay, so you teach them money, and how do they get the money? They create jobs, and they go out and get a job. And when you're under the age of 16, 17, you really can't work for like a fast food restaurant or something like that. I think there's some child labor laws, but there's no rule against going out into neighborhoods, right? And you know your neighborhoods more than I do. And we know that our kids are multi-ethnic, so be very, very careful when you send your kids. And if they're too young, me in DC, hold on for a second, I'm sorry. I'm gonna call you right back. I'm online live. All right, sorry about that, guys. I don't know how that rang. But anyway, that was my boy. No, that was, I hung up too quick. Okay, anyway. I need to grow my income 10 times. What's your advice? All right, we're talking about teaching your kids money, but let me ask you this, Nevan. When you say you want to grow your income 10 times, my question to you is, how fast do you want to grow your money 10 times? That's my question. Maddox says downsize and get another job. That is one way. For some reason, a lot of you are scared to get another job. A lot of you are scared to do a side hustle. Okay, a lot of you are scared to do a side hustle. But let me get back on track here. Let me finish this up and I'll answer all your questions that you have. But I really want to get through this kids thing because there's some people out there who really want to know this information. So that's the first thing. Second thing that you to teach your kids is never to get in debt. Okay, never get in debt. Teach them the basic concept of money, and then teach them how to never get in debt. For them can be a lender and not a borrower. Okay, to be a lender, to lend people money so they get money back on interest, because that is how the U.S. actually operates. That's all our wealth is circulating, is from the poor to the rich, because what? Most of the poor people are in debt, right? We take loans from the rich people and we pay them their money back with interest. So teach your kids that. Yeah, there's all sorts of crowd platforms. Yesterday I spoke about Fundrise. Now, since I'm part of Fundrise, in about 3 weeks they're offering me to invest in Fundrise, to actually have shares in their company. And I think I'm qualified to buy around 119 shares. And I'm about all 119 shares. And of course, there's nothing promised. You could lose money. We all know that. Investments are not 100% safe. Okay, they're not 100% safe. But my whole thing is, when you do your research, you invest inside solid companies with solid analytics and solid statistics. Then, in my opinion, I've always made money. Have I lost money? Yes, I lost money. We won't talk about Citigroup. I beat that horse too much. But the one company I try to do penny stocks. Do not, my opinion, my advice is not to invest your money into penny stocks. Do not put your money in penny stocks, guys. Let me tell you. I invested in, I want to say, about $200 in this Chinese mining company. And some of you was like, yeah, that's why I was a Chinese mining company. But at one point in time, Chinese mining companies were actually giving great returns. So this Chinese mining company did what most penny stock companies do. They build up this company, right? You don't know if they're out there mining or not. And then they have investors to pump it, right? They pump it. They put money into it. So you start seeing people who are watching penny investments, they start seeing that this penny investment is growing, right? And then from there, I put $200 in there. So that penny stock was about 5 cents. In about 2 months, it rose up to 50 cents. Okay, so I'm making really good money. So I'm almost eager to put money in it. And then they dumped it. I mean, the entire stock bottomed out. The entire stock. So I lost $200. Everything was at zeros. I can't even explain it. So don't do that. Don't do penny stocks. Now, the third thing with your kids, investing. Let me read some of your comments before they leave me. Let's see. Funko Pops for show. I need to grow my income 10 times. Okay, shall we ask that? Maddox says side hustles are a way of life and bring to your kids. That's true. And Nevan said a few years they want to grow their money 10 times. See, nice said Rob Carpenter. True, they used to give great returns. Exactly. Nevan, I'm gonna get right back to you. And the third thing is teaching your kids investing. Now, myself, I don't have a set program to teach kids investments, but I would advise you go over to the Black Business Schools, which Dr. Boyce Watkins is the CEO. I'm not affiliated with him. He doesn't know me, but he has a great program set up. I remember I bought my stepkids at the time I was married. I'm no longer married. I bought my stepkids these little investment cards from the Black Business School, and they were phenomenal. They were easy to read. They had pictures of us. So that imagery, right? That perception, that imagery showing you that you can do this. I love it. But it were very easy to read. And guess what? I went through them too. I was like, oh, I didn't know that. investments. Didn't know that. I knew what it meant, but I didn't know it like that. So they're really plain and simple. So teach your kids those three things. How do you get the items that you want, right? The concept of money. Teach your kids never to get in debt and to be a lender, not the person who's borrowing the money. And thirdly, teach your kids investments. Now, savings is basically easy. They're saving for a rainy day, like losing their job. The economy crashes, but it should be no more than 6 months, 7 months of all your bills. See, some people are just saving to save. No, you should have your money work for you. My money makes money. That is the thing. Most rich people have their money in something that's working for them, like investments. The only thing they have in savings are for rainy days, or maybe they're saving for a phone or a car or something like that. And they still may invest that money, then cash out of it because they still want that money as they're saving it to grow, right? And that money that you have for your emergency fund, make sure that's high yield savings. I won't get on that. I talked about that yesterday. If you want to check out the live stream from yesterday, look at that as well. All right. Now that I'm done with teaching your kids, I'll talk about the 529 college plan, right? Going to an interstate college, going to a community college, and then have you got the money, they can go to any college they want to with those two 529 college plan. If you're just chiming in, then rewind the video a little bit and you'll see what I was talking about. I actually read some stuff. Nonetheless, debt, right? Talk about debt. Make sure that your kids are the person that's giving out the debt, not taking the debt. And then investing and then savings. Okay. Now I asked a couple of questions. I don't want to be in front of you guys too long, but as long as you got questions coming, I'm going to answer them. All right. So Nivan, you're talking about growing your money 10 times in the next few years. Okay. So let me start off by saying this. Not too many people became rich very quickly if they wasn't into entertainment, some sort of rich family already. If they started from the bottom investing and working their butt off, they have accumulated wealth over the course of time. Because you may see a guy who's at 40 who's a millionaire, but I promise you at around the age of 18, 19, and 20, he started to invest, or he started to save his money and then started to invest, or he started a business, right? Because that's 20 years of obtaining wealth. You can do a lot in 20 years if you use your money right, if you invest your money right. So I have my money diversified through certain entities, right? So I have my money in Wealthfront. I have my money in Fundrise. I have some money in Stash. I have some money in Vanguard. And what I do is I pick and choose different funds to balance out my diversification in my portfolio, right? Every portfolio, in my opinion, should have bonds because bonds are always gaining interest, not high interest, but it's the building blocks of a good diversification. And bonds will start off from 1%. You may get them to 4 or 5%, but you'll mostly see bonds, U.S. Treasury bonds, that is, from 1 to 3, 1 to 4%. Okay. Then I have index funds and I have ETF funds, and I also have individual stocks. And my individual stocks are mostly Amazon because Amazon is still growing. They're still building corporation buildings across the world. They're still building fulfillment centers across the world. So that's one of the companies I'm still heavily in. And then I talked about Apple yesterday. Apple stock is like $249 and Apple's still growing. Apple's still innovating. Apple's still inventing. Then you have the Alphabet stock, which is actually Google. They're still growing. They're making new products. This came out with the Pixel 4. You know I was going to bring it up, right? And then next year, they're coming out with the wireless Google Buds. You have to do your research in advance and invest in companies that have a projection that's going to meet your goals, right? There is a clear street to making your 10 times in a few years, but you have to be very, very careful because when you're projecting so much of a return, you have to dive deep into analytics of each stock, each entity that you actually want to get inside of. Now, granted, you take someone like 50 Cent. He's notorious for investing to a company and making millions of dollars. I'm going to take his big investment, vitamin water. 50 Cent invested in vitamin water when it first started off, And then when he sold his shares to Pepsi, when they bought Vitamin Water, they gave him $400 million. How do you think he was making those low budget movies? Right. And then how do you think he started making power? Now, a lot of you probably know that 50 Cent, he went bankrupt. But what people don't understand about rich people, rich people can go bankrupt and still have millions of dollars. You know what I'm saying? Chapter 13, chapter 7. I think it's chapter 7. I know it's chapter 13. But they can file for bankruptcy and still have millions of dollars because they're not going to go totally poor. So they actually filed bankruptcy to safeguard some of that capital. And then as their money continued to grow because they invested too much, too fast, too soon, right? And they don't have enough money to pay off their other bills, but they're waiting for their investments to pay out. So this is what these people do. Like, how can 50 Cent file for bankruptcy, 2 times? I think it was at least one. I know it was at least once. I know it was 2 times. But even Donald Trump, the notorious president Donald Trump, right? He has went bankrupt 2 or 3 times, but he's still a billionaire, right? Because he probably invested too much money too soon, building hotels around the world, but his money came back to him. That's what we have to understand about investments. You may want to invest to get that 10 times, but it could be a little riskier, especially if investing is new for you. But I would say, if anything, Navan, is to diversify your investments on different platforms. Because even someone talked to me about M1 Finance. I like M1 Finance too, but M1 Finance can be very, very confusing. If anybody know about the pies and how they go through all of those things, I got a little bit confused even myself. That's why I like straightforward investment like Robinhood, Stash, and Wealthfront, and also Betterment. All right, reading your notes. Mystery Queen, do you believe in investing in real estate in a city like Chicago? Now, did you mean real estate? Because you say reinstate. Like, can you clarify that, Mystery Queen? Okay. Oh, real estate. She did. My bad. Real estate. Yes, but where are you investing in your real estate? Is it an upcoming neighborhood? Is it on the south side of Chicago? Is it on the north side of Chicago? Is it east or west? Here's the thing, guys. If you know that the city is planning, and I hate to say this, to gentrify south side of Chicago and push all the low impoverished people out like they did in DC, where I'm from. Like, I remember growing up in the ghetto, my Aunt Rainey, she used to live over by Suitland Parkway. And now by Suitland Parkway, there's nothing but condos. There's nothing but condos. Okay? And I'm like, how much are these condos? A studio, $1,200. Yes, I should have invested in that because I knew as they were developing, right? You have to go search for the information. You have to Google 100 things, but you Google 100 things going to find out, how can I invest in this property that they're gentrifying so you can become rich like they are? Because guess what's in that neighborhood? That neighborhood was majority Black, low income, Section 8 housing. Now it's high class people living in there, spending $1,200 for a studio, spending $1,400 for a 1-bedroom apartment. So it depends, Mystery Queen, where in Chicago and what are the plans of Chicago for that particular part. Because if you are not doing your research and you're just investing blindly, you are doomed to lose your money. Excuse me. Gotta hydrate. And real estate, like I said before, I invest into inside of Fundrise. Fundrise is a crowdsourcing platform. It's a real estate investment trust. And I've been investing in them for about 2 years. Because if I'm not mistaken, Fundrise came out in 2012. And the reason why I know about Fundrise is because Fundrise actually started out of DC. Let me not tell you guys some wolf tickets. Let me make sure I look about that. So I'm gonna look up Fundrise because I know you guys be researching people while they talking. You're like, let me make sure he's on the up and up. Like, he ain't gonna just sell me no wolf tickets. Yeah, I believe Fundrise started in DC. Look at my Fundrise account. So right now I'm looking at my Fundrise account They're saying by the year 2029, okay, 2029, with my current money and the interest and dividends that are reinvesting on themselves, that I'll have $60,000 in 10 years. If I don't, it said, I'm gonna tell you what it says. It said you're on track. Your investments per month, you need to stay on track, and I can still add funds. But by the year 2029, I will have $60,000. Now, because this is an investment, I can also lose that money as well, because I said it before. I've said this a couple of times. We're coming into 10 years, and if you know anything about the stock market, roughly around 10 to 12 years, the market crashes. It does a market reset. And do not sell your investments. Do not do anything hasty. Stand your ground. Don't move your investments, because the stock market always comes back stronger. If you notice, throughout this year and throughout last year, the Dow, they were like, oh, the S&P 500, they was like, oh, it broke another record. And look what happened back in 2008, 2009. So we have to understand you have to be very patient with your finances. Now, it also depends on where you are in life. See, Maddie says, think you're all right about Fundrise. Okay. That was about the same time I started using Mint. Yeah, Mint is more like a financial tracking platform to help people to manage their finances, which I used to use Mint. Now I just kind of use an Excel spreadsheet. I'm not gonna lie, man. I have some formulas with inside the cells, and I have a lot of bills on auto pay, but Mint was connected to all my stuff. They used to advertise on Mint. Oh, Fundrise used to advertise on Mint. I got you. So, all right, guys, if you guys don't have any questions, I'm not going to bore you any too long, but don't forget that this stream was mainly about teaching your kids money, and there's some questions and answers. I think tomorrow I'll come on a little earlier. I understand that on the East Coast, it's pretty much midnight there. So I think I'm going to come on a little early. I'm going to say about 30 minutes. I'm just going to do questions and answers. And I'm just going to ramble about money, because we have to understand we got to be on this money. We got to get this money. And granted, guys, you know me. I'm not going to bull jive you. This ain't real money, okay? That's not real money, okay? That's not real money. That's just my props. You know how people are like, oh, I got $10,000 on the table. Man, get out of here. Put your money in the bank. They try and show you all the money they made for you can go and buy their products. Put your money in the bank. That's where your money need to be. You know what? Show me your bank account. Log into your bank account and show me your balance. Don't show me the money on the table where I can't really see it. Show me your bank account. That's what you guys should be asking them. But anyway, guys, make sure I don't have any notes left. Can we get those lights up, please? Thanks, Maddox. I appreciate that, man. And if you guys need any information, you guys can email me at blacklogic28@protonmail.com. That's blacklogic28@protonmail.com. Also, that email is in the description of this video, as well as links for Stash and other investment sources to help you out. So this is Financial Literacy 101. My name is Roswell. I'll be on tomorrow, hopefully. I'm going to try to do more live streaming. I think we can get a lot accomplished by live streaming, where you ask questions and we can also interact on this platform. Is net wealth next? Who knows? Who knows, Maddox? Don't put it in my head, because I might talk about it tomorrow. But anyway, guys, you guys have a great night, and I'll see most of you guys tomorrow. Peace.